Hello, Jim Roddy here with Business Solutions Magazine. It's another episode of BSMtv from the show floor of the Retail IT VAR of the Future Conference in Las Vegas. I'm joined by Karl Palachuk from Small Biz Thoughts. Karl, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, glad to have you here. And so Karl has been talking about the transition to the as-a-service business model. And I'm just curious to have your take, because you've spent most of your side on the managed services side of the IT channel. Here you are diving in with a lot of point-of-sale resellers, traditional hardware resellers. What things are kind of jumping out to you, or what can you share with our audience?
Well, one of the things that I was talking to somebody about earlier was that we cover certain things in our business, and it's because we have to draw the line between what users can muck with and what they can't. And I would move that line considerably lower if in the retail business, just because there's a lot of fewer things that people can mess up than in an office environment.
Got it. Can you give us something to picture when you say that?
So, for example, in a regular office environment, you might have a dozen people who are typists or secretaries, and half a dozen attorneys, and they can go and change things in Windows and make a lot of things messy. They can install all kinds of viruses. You're going to see a lot less of that per device in a retail environment, where it's much easier to fix. So if you can remote in, reboot the machine, and it re-images instantly, then it's pretty easy to fix those problems, and I would cover a lot more than I do in an office environment.
Got it. I'm curious, I saw you give the presentation about the as-a-service business model. You participated in the panel. I've seen a lot of folks engaging with you at your booth and also at the tables there. What kind of things are resonating with them? What kind of questions are you hearing about? What are they concerned about?
Well, the biggest thing is, how do I move to recurring revenue? I mean, that's the theme of the entire conference. So I think that's what people are very excited about, and there's a lot of the vendors here have got some solutions for them, so it's pretty cool.
Did that surprise you at all, seeing some of the vendor offerings that they have? Because that hasn't been the case in the point-of-sale world for very long.
Well, so I haven't seen the point-of-sale world for about 15 years. I
Okay.
used to be in it and haven't been for a while, but it is nice to see them focusing very heavily on that, because it's recurring revenue for them as well.
Got it. From what you see, your experience on the managed services side of the business and what you're getting here from the point-of-sale world, what do you think we're going to be 5-10 years from now for this recurring revenue as a service? Is it still going to be some incremental thing, or do you think it'll be that most people have adopted it and figured out how to do it?
Well, I think everybody will have some recurring revenue. The thing is, there's going to be a shakedown as, in the next 5 years, the technology is going to change from stuff that we can predict to stuff that we can't predict. So what's going to happen is that there's always new peripherals showing up. There's always new things showing up on the edges. Some of that is just not going to go to a recurring revenue model. Others will go there very quickly. So we have to look at, what do we sell that's recurring revenue, and what do we sell that's as-needed basis? And what's the combination that makes the most sense and makes the most money? But you also have to always maintain flexibility, because, you were mentioning yesterday, we couldn't have predicted 9 years ago what we'd be worried about today. In fact, we were worried about things that never happened. So that's the same thing in the next 9 years. We have to be flexible, and we have to just sort of go with the flow and try to guess what's going to work and what's not. And sometimes that's the hardest thing in business.
Yeah. Karl Palachuk, Small Biz Thoughts, thanks for your time today, and thanks for making this conference really go. Heard a lot of good feedback about the things you had to say.
Well, I've had a good time, and it's a great conference.
Great, thank you.